I love a cozy spot to read. In this video, I'm going to show you how I built this one. In the previous videos, I built a loft platform in my living room, cut a giant hole in my ceiling to install a skylight, and now I'm continuing on with the demo work. But this time, I'm gonna be cutting into the drywall to steal space from my attic and create a cozy reading nook. All right, ready guys? Let's cut yet another hole in my house. The plan here is really cool, I think. I'm essentially cutting an opening and then pushing it back a few feet and reinstalling it. The framing in my house and the other items in my attic, such as the AC ducting, dictates the shape and size of this opening. For example, I have ductwork along the bottom that I'll frame over. The rafters will dictate the ceiling, and my main unit dictates the placement of the left wall. Wow, that is very warm. Woo. Don't go through the ceiling. Hey, wait, tell me. Now that the space is opened up, I can start by framing new walls around all the obstacles. Before I change it too drastically, this is the attic space. So I actually have room here in order to create a platform, but I'm gonna have to leapfrog over that ducting right there, which isn't a problem. But then the one thing to note is that huge chunk of ducting right there, that goes to this return, which is what sucks in the air for my AC system. I am going to delete this off of this wall and instead move it over into this, what will be a wall here instead. This way the whole space won't see it, and I'll be able to use that for bookshelves instead. So the first step is to start framing up a platform that will create the bottom side of the nook. And this is absolutely the funkiest framing job I've ever done, but it was also really fun for that reason. Instead of having a straightforward top plate and bottom plate to throw studs into evenly, in this scenario, I was working with the roof rafters and the floor joists, but I was leapfrogging over ducting and keeping things in line with the existing walls. For all of this framing, I'm reusing the material from the first video of building that custom scaffolding. I'm not lying, I was really looking forward to getting a platform down. Working in the attic is a nightmare for a few different reasons. Not only is it summer in Texas, so the attic's already warm, but I felt like I was playing Twister trying to find places I could safely step or set my tools down without falling through the ceiling. Framed out reading nook. So now we can deck it. This is all cutoffs from the subfloor and the scaffolding, so this is actually going to be 3 pieces. You see this tiny little thing? That's just fine. I love using up scraps. Having a platform will absolutely make the rest of this go quick. Before adding the wall sheathing, I added in what's called blocking, which are members that will give me something to attach the sheathing to at the top and the bottom. Next, I took measurements, called them out to Jake, then he cut and passed up sheets that I held and then nailed into the framing. A few things to note here, these sheets are MDF that I cut on my CNCs to look like shiplap. If you're gonna paint your sheathing, this is a really great, inexpensive way to do it. Another thing, everything on the backside needs to be insulated or this nook will become a massive heat sink. Since I have access to my attic and the backside of these sheets, I did all of the insulation after. But if you don't have access, then insulation can be added to the sheets as they're going up. The last piece was a little tricky to get in there, but I got it. Don't think at me. Need no thinking at. makeup, it fit perfect. I know it doesn't look amazing right now, but don't underestimate the power of trim. Before doing that though, I need to move my HVAC air return, which is another first for me. Funny, because I have to not fall through the attic. While I'm moving ductwork here, I'd like to thank Mr. Cool for keeping my home comfortable. It is about 100 degrees in this attic, but my Mr. Cool universal system keeps my house cool and comfortable, and it saves me money while doing it. My system looks like central air conditioning with an air handler on the inside and condenser outside. But it doesn't just cool my home, it actually steals heat from the outdoors and pumps it indoors. That keeps my house toasty all winter while cutting my energy bills. It works down to -22, which is very impressive. So it's a great option even for you northerners. I installed the entire system by myself about a year ago and it was completely manageable, even though I didn't have any HVAC experience. Mr. Cool has pioneered DIY heating and cooling with their ingenious line set system. You can make connections with just a wrench, so there's no need for special HVAC equipment or know-how. Mr. Cool also makes great DIY mini split systems, which I think I've installed 4 of those now. To see the entire Mr. Cool product line or my videos on installing them, then check the link down in the description. Will it work? When I was sheathing this wall, it's easier to put up a solid sheet than cut the hole needed. So that's what I did. Huh. And then look at here, folks. Just moved this trunk. It literally went from boop to boop. So in order to keep this in, I don't have any mastic. So what I'm gonna do is I have a fender washer here in order to have a wide footprint. And then in order to keep the screw head from not falling through, I just doubled it up with another washer. And I'm gonna drive in a few screws. And that's going to hold it in place long enough for me to now come back with some caulking in order to fully seal it. I'm using DAP's Dynaflex here, which is my go-to, and the idea is to stop any air movement from anywhere there is a gap. I caulked around the entire front, but I even went to the back side and used a can of their spray foam to make a really good seal. Then I could put the grate back on and then fully trim out the nook. Since I'm painting everywhere one color, I threw the trim up as it is and then waited until the very end to paint. But you could always pre-paint the trim if you wanted it to pop instead of blend in. Then to really finish it off, I caulked every joint. Again, don't think of this as an aesthetic step only. It's also functional. You want to prevent any air movement from going between the house and the attic for efficiency's sake. I let it dry, gave it a few coats of paint, and then decorated and called it done. I now have an amazing space to grab a book and curl up. You know, it's projects like this that really reinstate to me that you can build whatever you can imagine. So don't forget how important it is to imagine. And that is it for the Nook video, guys. If you're interested in seeing the rest of the Loft series, stay tuned because I got a few more things to show you.